Welcome back to Floater Game. We got special guest Lauren here with us. Going to give us some experts insights on Sixers, Team USA, schedule release, what have you. We'll start with Team USA though. Marvin, what's been your thoughts about the first couple games?
I
Team
mean,
USA.
they've been really good and fun. They've shown since this year Team USA seems to do a lot more of a younger team. They all have shown that they have the talent that we all think they have and that they've shown in the regular season, and it's not just like a lucky season or something. And I think especially with Austin Reeves, I feel like he's getting more of the love that he deserves now too, and the appreciation. Um, but I mean, it's just they've been great. Fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like coming in, everyone was like, "Oh man, this is like a bronze medal team." It's just because it wasn't the usual Team USA. Now the best player is probably like Jalen Brunson or Brandon Ingram, which is not usual. But it's exciting because we got it like we get to see more of the young guys, more of the guys that a lot of casual NBA fans don't usually watch. And this team is still the best team in the tournament. What team do you think contends with them the most?
I don't even know the rosters of the other teams too well, to be honest. So
Well,
I can't make
Canada.
it good.
I think Eastern European teams, Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic.
I don't think it's.
I don't know if any of them are playing, but if they are,
I know Luke is playing. I don't know if Jokic is playing.
Is Giannis playing?
Yeah, he's not.
Germany, they got Mo Franz and Dennis Schroeder.
Germany did look good. They played Canada twice and they split those games.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess Canada would probably be the second.
Yeah.
Come on,
That's
Murray,
who they have.
No, he's not playing. I
But
mean,
they
he's supposed to. But they got Shea,
Dort, Barrett,
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks. I mean,
Well, that's why they.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess they probably have the most other stars.
And the Bahamas is looking pretty good. They got Eric Gordon, Buddy Hield, DeAndre Ayton. Pretty
Bahamas.
I'm taking Canada over them though.
Oh yeah. But
Taking Canada over them.
Australia,
Who do they
Patty
have?
Mills, Josh Giddey, Joe Ingles, Josh Green.
They have some solid players, but I don't think they have enough to like.
At the end of the day,
Win.
I think Team USA is gonna wipe the floor with everyone.
Yeah, at least they should.
But if you look at a lot of Team USA players, I think it's like as far as the future of the NBA, you're basically looking at a bunch of all the future All Stars and potentially some MVP candidates. I mean, Paul Mitchell will play 1 year, rookie year, really good. I'm not saying I'm taking that as an MVP anytime soon, but it also wouldn't be that surprising. Wouldn't be that surprising. Mikal Bridges just absolutely popped off. I mean, still super young. How old is he? 26.
Is he really only?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, in 4 years, it wouldn't be shocking if he was an MVP candidate. I mean, Brunson is good. Anthony Edwards, I'm actually big on him being a future MVP
I think
candidate.
being an MVP in like 2 years.
I think
Yeah,
Edwards
exactly.
will end his career with at least one MVP.
Yeah, I mean Halliburton. I think he's an amazing player. I think he might be an MVP candidate.
Yeah,
I
I don't know
think
if he's gonna
he-
be.
He'll be a high-end All-Star.
Yeah,
Exactly.
He's already an All-Star.
And Ingram's only 25. And he's
Yeah,
basically.
I could see Ingram getting one too.
He's basically. I mean, I know Tatum is a KD comparison, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
Tatum. I mean, Embiid. I mean,
Yeah.
Ingram
There you go.
is much closer to KD in my book than Tatum.
Yeah.
I agree.
Just play style and like even just look. Well, these really skinny guys just like shoot over the heads of people and like lengthy. Jerry Jackson Jr. I mean, you have basically the future of the NBA.
Yeah,
Bobby Portis, future.
Walker.
Yeah, but
Kessler.
he's only 28 though. Actually, I thought he was looking like 30 something.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, Walker Kessler just played his first season and he did amazing.
Also, future defensive player of the year probably.
Exactly. Reeves.
You know,
I mean, they have great
Reeves.
coaching too. Obviously, I mean,
So, Austin Reeves is like
Is he legit?
so he's a very he's a very popular guy, popular white boy in the NBA probably.
it's like one of
Luka Doncic.
They're not white boys, they're European.
So Europeans aren't white. That's
No,
good.
no.
We ain't white.
yes.
No, but like I mean, like a lot of people say it's because he plays with LeBron that he's so popular, and I think that's part of.
I think that's what he got his popularity from,
Yeah.
but he actually has it.
You think he realistically has like an all-star future?
Easy. I take the over on that. Like, if I put money on, I take the over easily.
He's like 25. He averaged what 13 last year. I mean, obviously he like started ascending near the end of the season. What were his playoff stats?
Playoff stats?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guard. So the guard, I feel like guards have been more competitive to make the All-Star game. It's a lot harder to feel like the guard than the center.
Yeah, the
It's
West
much more deep,
guard
much more
is
talented, especially in the West. So as far as that, I don't know. Maybe it's hard for him to make All-Star, but like as far as talent, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to at least see him in a 1 year.
Yeah. So his playoffs average in the 16 games that they played, he averaged about 17 points with 4.5 rebounds and assists. He shot 46%, but his 3-point percentage was 44%. So his 3-point percentage was really good too. Free throw percentage was 89.5. And he only averaged 1.5 turnovers in the 36 minutes that he played a game. That's pretty good efficiency.
I mean, he's probably gonna be the starting point guard next year.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he starts over D'Lo.
I wouldn't say he's in for like a most improved year, but I mean he just plays the game the right way, and with an increased role, he's going to average like around 20. He's going to average like 6 assists. Yeah. I mean he just does everything right. He doesn't do anything spectacularly,
Yeah.
but he just does everything. He's like a Chris Middleton type guy.
Yeah. He just does everything right.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this question seems weird, but I'm gonna ask it.
Alright.
Future, who do you think that'll be your future? I know, like we have the last year, and I know who we're taking, but Brunson's 26 years old. Last week is about 25.
Yeah. Who are you taking?
Who are you taking?
I'm taking Brunson.
I figure you take Brunson.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think right now Brunson he's easily above him, but I wouldn't be too surprised if
I mean, we
Reeves
saw Brunson.
if Reeves matches him or even passes him a little bit.
I love Brunson. I love him in college. He's a dog. He's a little point guard, but he actually knows how to play post. He post off for
Yeah,
point guard.
yeah.
He can't post him on a big guy.
No,
We saw Brunson in the playoffs be the best player on a team that went to the second round, and obliterated the Cavs. Obviously,
Yeah, that's true.
lost the Knicks.
I do feel like Austin Reeves is a higher ceiling than Jalen Brunson. I think
Because he's bigger.
He's got a little more
He's bigger, more athletic.
He can do a little more of everything. I feel like, and he's a bag.
Yeah.
I think he's a deeper bag than Brunson does. I'm a big Brunson fan, by the way. But I think he's a deeper bag. But I do think Brunson does better. He's a safer bet. But I feel like the higher ceiling, I would give to Reeves.
Let's ask it. All right, who would you take for the future? Austin Reeves or what's his face?
couldn't tell you.
He's the Jalen Williams.
Oh, J-Dub
Yeah.
or Reeves?
Sorry guys. I don't.
That's actually a really good question.
So,
I mean, J-Dub is younger.
they
So
average similar stats. Obviously, J-Dub's a rookie.
yeah, I think.
J-Dub's also probably younger, I guess. You know what I mean?
I think he's.
He came from Santa Clara, so he probably played.
Yeah, he's 3 years younger. I think he played 3 years in college.
He basically the old I am.
That is crazy. I'm like the same age as Cooper Flag, which is crazy.
Crazy,
Like,
how young some of these guys are.
And he's like one of the I don't know. Makes me feel like a failure.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
I feel you though.
I mean, personally, I'm taking Jalen Williams, but
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's a similar player to Austin Reeves in terms of he does everything right.
That's true.
But he's younger.
I feel like he has a more
better
well-rounded play, just considering the defensive end too. I would say he's a much better defender than Reeves is right now.
I think part of the reason I agree with you. I think he's more. But I think part of the reason Austin Reeves being for one, I mean, both LeBron and the Lakers.
Mhm.
One of the reasons he's so hyped. I mean, you see some flashy things.
No,
And sometimes he just also he's the best guy. Like he's like pretty much the best guy on the court. Like just what he does. So that is what I'm saying. He has a higher ceiling. I feel like, and even then than J-Dub. I'm not saying I'll take him over. It just makes him a little more electric, and so he's got a little more of a dog in him. He's got a dog in him. You know what I'm saying? He goes out there and he can. I mean, he earned a spot.
I feel like I feel like they both.
He wasn't a top 5 pick.
No.
And then also because like where he is right now, everything was earned.
Yeah, he earned everything. That's true.
What about RJ Barrett?
Or Reeves.
Yeah.
Personally,
I think Reeves.
yeah.
I'm actually. I mean, RJ Barrett gets a lot of hate. I actually like RJ Barrett.
I do too.
I'm actually. I like RJ Barrett. I think Reeves. I mean, for one, he's a pure shooter. I mean, infinitely better than RJ Barrett. He's definitely smaller, quite a bit smaller.
I don't know. So
He's got more dog in him too, man. RJ Barrett, he's kind of a choke.
I choose RJ Barrett like every year to win Most Improved Player.
Never.
And I'm always disappointed. But this playoffs, he was so good.
That's true. He did fix his jumper a little, but the question is, can he stay consistent
Yeah.
and not be a choke artist
But I'm
anymore?
a believer.
You're
And
gonna take it again?
yes,
Good thing you're not putting money on these, bro.
if I could, I would. But
Oh, continue. I don't want to interrupt you, but I have a thought.
okay, I'm gonna finish
I
up.
have thoughts too.
So so last playoffs he averaged 18, 5, 3 assists, 46% from the field. Really good numbers, better than Austin Reeves. But also for Team Canada, he had like 36 points on 13 of 14 shooting.
That's impressive for RJ Barrett.
Yeah,
But he's consistent. He does it every.
I know, but I feel like he's starting to pull it together. You know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he did fix his jumper like the rumor said during the playoffs, and he actually has that good jumper now.
I mean, we saw him on the ball face the jumper.
Exactly. It'll be something. But that's still to be found.
To that jumper, to the consistency, and to the fact, I mean, he's a good player, and to is he play defense. I want to make an interesting comparison. I just thought of right now.
All right.
Amen Thompson. Who, by the way, I love Amen Thompson. I never thought of anything similar. And I think Amen Thompson's more athletic, but think about it. They're both bigger guards. They got IQ, they got playmaking, you got him, but they're a lot of athleticism going on. They kind of more into they both are known for their shooting. We know Amen Thompson.
I would say Azor Thompson's a better comp.
But he's a better shooter. That's why I didn't pick him.
Yeah.
Less point guard passing. RJ Barrett and Amen, I thought they share that.
Yeah, that's true.
But it'd be interesting to see. I'm also really big on Amen Thompson. I actually think he's gonna be a better player than RJ Barrett will be.
Yeah,
in 3. I would think so.
Amen Thompson has like Hind also.
Oh, I think so.
I think both of Thompson's something.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think there's a lot of similarities to be said between Amen Thompson and RJ Barrett.
I mean, like RJ Barrett, he has all the potential in the world, and he showed it in college. If he could just kind of log into it, and finally unlock it, it's going to be.
I think I love his mindset. You got back off Reeves. He's got a dog in him. He'd want to be a leader with a team that has LeBron and AD on it. Like, he's willing to still be like one of the big guys, talk. And I feel like RJ Barrett, that's one of the biggest things you lack on RJ Barrett. You know what I'm saying? Brunson just got out there, and Brunson immediately took the leadership.
Confidence.
He's got his confidence and just being able to be assertive. And that makes you a dog.
And
that makes you get better, right? You talk about Michael Jordan, you talk about Kobe Bryant, about LeBron James.
And then you got Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves, exactly. No,
top 3 players of all time right there.
But they all have the mindset. They're all willing to be the guy, to talk, to do things on the court, to grind, to get better. You can see it from Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, I mean, he didn't start the way he is right now.
No.
He can really, you have to have drive.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right because RJ Barrett, right? If you're on the
court, pitch, he doesn't give any.
No, he just plays. He just plays and wants to see his horses again. But yeah, I think you're right because RJ Barrett, right? If you're not confident in yourself and you're not assertive, right? And you just accept the ball when you get it, but you're not doing much more than that. I mean, just confidence in itself can be such a booster to you, even just making shots. Because if you're shooting the ball thinking, "Oh, why am I shooting this? Is this gonna go in?" Like your chances just go down because you're not gonna like try as hard. Like,
He's so afraid to do wrong that he often does.
Exactly.
I mean, like those undrafted guys, they often have that chip on their shoulder.
Exactly.
Miami guys.
Like, the Miami guys, Fred VanVleet. We often see these guys that were undrafted are the guys that are kind of like the.
Yeah, because they have to fight more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a similar comparison, not really, because he was picked like 5th. Like Trae Young, he's like this tiny little guy, and he was probably like, discarded a bunch. or guys like that.
But you're right.
They're
He's
often
got
the
chicken
guys-
mindset.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. He's got a dog in him.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's probably enough Austin Reeves talk for the episode.
USA to Reeves, who said screw the rest of the team.
I mean, he's the only important player.
Yeah, that's really true.
Well, I want to move on to the Sixers because they are kind of the mess at the moment.
Oh yeah, they are.
So do we have a problem in Philly?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, well, so it's what is the extent of the problem?
Is
it-
Daryl Morey gonna fix the problem?
Yeah. So I'm gonna start with a simple question. How do the 76ers fix this, or can it be fixed?
Well, so first off, you could try just trading Harden. At this point, he doesn't want to play for you.
Well, the problem is who's going to take Harden?
I'm gonna stop playing there.
China. He said he was trading for
he's willing to play for China. So I mean, you might have.
wild quote, yeah.
Yeah, well, I know. I was like, okay, he's just done with the NBA, going to China now. I guess. I mean,
Well, the thing is does any team actually want to put up with him?
that's a good question.
So like,
We were talking about it with Russell Westbrook, but just
Yeah.
keep in mind he didn't have this toxic attitude.
yeah,
It was hard.
Westbrook is just like a kind of a wild card on the court, but we know what he brings. Like,
And he has more of a dog than James Harden.
Yeah. Harden, he kind of we don't know what he's going to bring to the court every night. I mean, like we saw in the playoffs. You know, what was it? Game 4, he had like a 40-point game winner, all that. And then game 7, he was a no-show.
But he had I think he had what 2 40
Yeah,
point
he had
games.
two 40-point games.
And then the rest of the season, I think he averaged 9 points per game.
it's really
It's some crazy stuff like that.
I mean, and also then you take into account the attitude, and then you take into account the money, and then you are taking into account again the Sixers' ridiculous asking price.
Yeah.
I mean, they asked for what, like Evan Mobley for Tobias Harris? That's kind of crazy. You know?
Yeah, that's true. I know what you're talking about. I don't
Yeah.
remember the exact details, but that was basically the gist of it. Was we get mobile, you guys can have Tobias Harris.
To go back to your question of the 76ers, can they fix it? I think the fixing. I mean, I have a lot. We're gonna be talking about this in a second. I have ideas as far as trading is concerned, but I think it starts to get rid of Daryl Morey. I think that's my opinion. I don't know what he's looking for, what he's doing.
Yeah.
That this team has always been known not to be one of those stable teams. Back with Ben Simmons, they're not a very big bond and team chemistry. I would say all around. They had even got like Thibault just left. George Neon just left. Like you just don't really see a lot of chemistry in the comes to play style, coaching. But I mean,
so
he's not helping the case.
you never see these teams with like where their best players kind of like not their leader. He's super successful, you know. LeBron's the leader of the Lakers. Jimmy Butler's the leader of the Heat. Steph Curry and Draymond are the
That's an interesting
That's-
example, actually. That's an interesting example.
I mean, it's like so. Steph Curry is
He's him with the ball as far as
yeah. But Draymond's like the leader, the glue guy of that team.
He's the more vocal glue leader
Yeah.
of the team.
But at the end of the day, like Steph Curry's still locked in, and he will.
I like the comparison.
Yeah. But Joel Embiid, he's a troll. He's kind of
Couldn't have said it
immature.
better myself.
He
He's known to have dirty plays. He's known to be.
flop. And like the leader of that team, who's like PJ Tucker, you know. I mean, I love
there's
PJ
Not
Tucker,
even. That's the problem.
but it doesn't seem like the team has coherence.
Well, I think that's back to. I mean, I said this a while ago, right? To Embiid, maybe they should look at Embiid trades, right? But just looking at the stats and even just watching the team play when Embiid isn't on the court, they have chemistry. You see that they pass the ball more, they trust each other more.
I want to go. I want to go to a different point. I like the Warriors for one of leadership concern, but
Yeah.
here's the thing, especially interesting in the Warriors because they don't have. I mean, like you have Draymond more vocal, but even with the ball, he's also the facilitator.
Yeah.
And even though we know Curry's an artsman as far as
Yeah.
passing is concerned, but. The interesting thing because they play. I also guys. I hate the Warriors. To be fair, this is one of my least favorite teams. I root against them consistently, but they do play really good basketball.
Oh, yeah.
They play really good basketball. And that's why it's interesting about them because they have several leaders and they don't even have one go-to guy. I mean, if you look at Curry's stats, it's kind of been one of the things they've been talking about. He's not even a clutch guy as far as clutch moments concerned. And we know Curry's a baller. No dissing on Curry.
But yeah.
But it's interesting to consider for one their leadership and their play style. And I think both of the things are both something that the Sixers are completely contrary. I don't think they play basketball the right way, nor do they have any
Well,
leadership.
So their two best players are kind of like Harden. It depends, but usually in his prime, he was like a dribble, ISO guy.
Extremely high usage.
Same with Embiid. More just like on the block. Like the Warriors, they just have coherence. They got guys that fit different roles, and it's a collection of players that fit. And with the Sixers, it just doesn't seem that way. Like even the Nuggets is another team that's an example of a team they have tons of pieces that fit perfectly, or the Lakers at the moment, or
And players that know how to play together.
yeah, like the Sun. Well, not the Sun. Well, we'll see.
We'll see what the
We'll see what happens.
Well, interesting comparison. Kyrie Irving. We know Kyrie Irving had the chip. We know he's been to the finals. But guess who he was? He was not the guy.
Yeah.
He was not the guy on the court. Even though he was, we know he hit a big shot. We know
Yeah.
he's capable of hitting big shots. But he wasn't the vocal guy on the court. Nor was it his sole responsibility. But he was in a partnership with LeBron James. LeBron James being the more dominant as well as the leader. I can see Harden and Embiid, and we both know neither one of us has even been to a finals yet. My take is still
Harden's been through 5. And he's a 6 man, but
that's true. Okay, been with the Thunder. Okay, that's valid.
Yeah.
But that goes back to my point. He wasn't the best guy. He wasn't the guy on that team. That's actually exactly my point. I think both those guys, they're so talented. They can win 5 chips. I just don't think they can win them as the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they can. Either one of them. Both of them are
Like you
kind
said,
of the guy.
Kyrie Irving, Embiid's such a phenomenal talent, but his talent just doesn't fit the number one role, it seems. So and
Talent,
maybe
personality.
yeah, and so him being like a Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving is top 75. There's nothing wrong with being a number 2 guy. It just doesn't seem like it's gonna work with this core around Embiid.
But do we see either Embiid or Harden? Harden's older. I don't know if he will. Why not? He seems to be in his own world in China. I don't know what his plans are as far as his future. But do we see Embiid as young as he is, just coming off an MVP run? Do we see him even being willing or almost humbling himself to understand? Okay,
Not at all.
I need to do what the team needs. I need to take a second role, whether it's with the Sixers or even a different team. Because we know, Jokic, he's that guy, but he's also the most willing guy to pass the ball in a split second, right? He doesn't really care if it's him. He mostly just cares to see his horses more than anything. But he doesn't even he scores 30 points from those, but he doesn't care. He scores 12 points. He doesn't care how long the team he's happy. He's willing to do whatever he needs to be done.
Like we even saw right after they lost, he was making jokes about he was quoting Giannis or whatever, and he was saying like, "Oh, I need more help." Like it just doesn't seem like he has the mindset to do that, and it doesn't seem like he'll ever change.
Well, and the thing with Joel too, right, is I don't think, especially not coming back off the MVP season, I think the fact that he was runner-up the 2 seasons before didn't help him want to go down from his role because he figured it's going to be harder to be MVP, right? But I think now that he won it too, he's going to be like, yeah, I am that guy. Why would you take me away from being that guy? I don't think he will accept a second role.
Yeah.
Or not even necessarily a second role, but not immediately we pass half court, you get the ball, and then we see what happens.
Yeah.
Right. An interesting stat as far as playoffs, Joel Embiid has a 10% higher usage rate than Nikola Jokic. 10% higher. And Nikola Jokic is a better playmaker, higher IQ. I think it's hard to compare their scoring. I thought they just score 3 different ways. We know Jokic gets a bucket. I feel like Embiid has more finesse in just the scoring aspect itself.
Yeah. Sure.
But I think Jokic is almost the better scorer just because of the shots he can hit. It's just you're up in his face and he shoots he shoots it you're not blocking it, but it goes in. And he's fading too. It goes in and he bodies people. And he's actually more willing, I feel to body people than Embiid is.
Yeah.
Despite Embiid's size, and we know he can dunk on people too. Yeah. He's more willing to body people, and I think he thought also a more lethal shot or a harder to guard shot for as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, and I think
it's interesting that use rate. It's not 2% different. It's 10% different.
Yeah. And these are the last 2 MVPs. And then one of them being on the championship team as the runner-up MVP.
Yeah. And finals MVP.
Yeah, and finals MVP. But the crazy thing too in Philly is you have 2 guys in Harden and Embiid. They together have 65% usage rate. They get most of the ball. Harden takes it down, so he probably has more usage rate because he's a point guard. And then you give it to Embiid. And if it's not him, basically, if one of them is on the court, they have the ball.
Yeah.
Nobody else gets to do anything.
Well, so here's the question. What team do you think can take Harden on realistically? Could and should.
I think a lot of that depends on Harden.
Yeah, just like, is there a single team?
Okay, as far as options, I mean, Dallas has some weird things going on. So I don't know if they want to experiment with some more. Houston scoring guards.
Houston has some
play
weird things
defense.
going on.
I
too,
wouldn't
just
do
with
it.
the type of play. I don't think it's.
And he wanted to be back in Houston for a little bit.
Houston being Houston, I could see them
That's true.
taking him.
But I
No,
think
but
two
they
Texas
signed
teams-
Van Vliet, so I'm hoping that means.
But what do they do? I don't know what their plan is. I mean, they have so many guards right now. Some of them are young. Some of them
Jalen Green's looking pretty good in the offseason program.
Guys.
Yeah.
Well, the problem too is they have so many guards. You're paying Brooks $20 million a year now. Van Vliet 42 or 43 million a year.
KPJ.
Better than he even shot last season.
Yeah.
Like they don't even know what they're doing themselves. They're just like, oh, we have money, we might as well use it.
The Timberwolves. I mean, they have so much dysfunction anyway, but they could use a guard. They
They
could
could
use
use
a
a guard,
guard. I mean, I'm serious.
Oh,
And I've even heard rumors too
And
that
their
Cat-
GM doesn't seem to be the most well educated as far as what
Yeah,
they do.
that's true too. Yeah. Yeah, the problem though is especially for the Six. I mean, I guess you'd probably have to make that a multi-team trade because I'm assuming
can they get in on like a Dane deal, try to facilitate
The thing
Dane
is,
to Miami?
They have to. The trade would be so complicated just because of money.
yeah, that's
Nobody wants to take on Harden's contract with his
attitude.
attitude, history, like.
Except
Age.
maybe the Timberwolves they took Rudy Gobert.
I mean, yeah. So just thinking, like the Timberwolves, so they gave up everything for Gobert in terms of like draft assets. So
Just
I
in
mean,
terms of future.
and maybe just like trading for Harden would justify what they think would justify that trade. Like
A win now.
Yeah. When even though your best player is 22 years old, gosh, man, that trade just hurts my head.
No, I still hate it. I was all for the Timberwolves when they did that trade, and I was like, what? That's just you screwed yourself over. And it was Rudy Gobert.
What
like,
what a trade that I do like for the Timberwolves for Harden is just Cat for Harden, possibly. I don't know if Sixers will want to do that, but
Cat and Embiid.
okay, I didn't even think about that.
I
But
mean, that's
I'm gonna
honestly
think it's
bad.
strictly from the Timberwolves perspective. Because so
Well,
you
from the
get rid of
Timberwolves
you're just getting
perspective-
rid of money.
From the Timberwolves perspective, you're getting rid of either Rudy or Cat.
Well,
Which for the Sixers makes it harder to trade with. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're gonna definitely need a third team for
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And maybe the Trailblazers, they could use a big. They want to get rid of Dame too. Maybe somehow something could happen there.
As far as
But it'd be such a
basketball,
whack trade.
let's just think about like a team that has melted Maxi, Embiid, and Towns on it. Certainly not easy to guard. I mean, I don't know how that would. I don't know how the chemistry would work, but I mean,
Didn't Embiid and Cat get in like a huge fight a while back?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of weird. If Embiid or not Embiid, if Towns and Gobert didn't work, I don't know how well Embiid and
Yeah, especially Embiid wanting the ball. He wants the ball.
neither one of them are big team leaders.
But that's the point. Like, there's not a lot of teams that are willing to take on Harden, and the Sixers can't keep Harden. I mean, he's just called out the GM unless you're willing to get rid of the GM.
Which he said he's not bothered by it, but I mean, I don't see how he's going to keep him. I don't expect to do that.
Yeah, I don't know why you would want to do that.
And guys, even if they keep him, let's be honest. I don't think anyone is really expecting the Sixers to have any chance of actually contending for a
No,
championship. Even with Harden happy as he can be, rolling around Philadelphia.
And we saw that the Clippers and the Sixers were having like trade discussions, but probably the best package they could get is like Robert Covington, Marcus Morris, and Terrence Mann or something. I mean, which isn't a bad package.
It's actually not a bad.
In my opinion, I would just take that. Let Matt
Especially
take the reins.
exactly. I think that's what you want. That's exactly what you want.
You want to go back to one of our favorite segments? Austin Reeves or Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, that's actually a tough.
It's a really tough one.
That's a really
Maxey
tough
doesn't get nearly
No,
the fame that
I'm
Reeves does.
picking Max. He's a third option.
I think that's fair.
Just like Reeves, and he's what 20.
I think that's totally fair.
Maxey, guys.
If he gets a 1 or 2 role and he gets that point guard leadership role, I think he would be.
I am
better
so
than-
extremely biased in this take, completely. But one of the biggest reasons why I just get Embiid and Harden out of Philly is Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
It's like the guy.
Shoots 43% from three.
He basically just took on Klay Thompson's role last year.
Mhm.
But we know the man has bunnies in his legs. He's lightning fast. He can finish anywhere around the rim. He can hit he can do everything on the court. But he basically all he was basically a pop shooter that he was doing at an extremely high rate. And also their best wing guard for the most part.
His rookie year, he shot 30% from three. His sophomore year, he shot 43% from three.
I mean,
That's a crazy
insane.
Let's give this guy a role. I think the
yeah.
buckets. We know Jordan Poole is inconsistent. He gets buckets.
Yeah, I mean, so Maxey's kind of just
Make him the
targeted
leader.
as like the guy that like
He's just a role player, right?
yeah, and he's such a good player.
And
If
so,
you give him Harden's or don't give him Harden's role, give him an increased
Make him
role.
well, but look, so last season, Tyrese Maxey played in 13 games that Harden did not play in, and he averaged 25 points, 5.5 assists, and 4 rebounds in those games.
And he's really young.
Yeah, what is he? 23.
Something.
Was this
like
his
that.
second season he just played?
This is
I think
third.
it's
Third.
yeah.
Yeah, he's 22.
And he's
Yeah.
putting up numbers like this with the ball dominance of Harden and Embiid. And we know like their strategy basically feed Embiid, and Maxey's still doing what
And they
he's
also
doing.
have Tobias Harris.
Oh, they have plenty of pieces that can still score. That's the nice thing with them, right? And then Maxey, when Embiid didn't play, 29 points, 5 assists, 3.5 rebounds. He has potential.
Well, yeah. I mean, so how many games did Embiid play?
10 games. And the Harden was
That's sample
30.
size.
That's
That's
the-
a sample size.
I mean, that's a legit sample. 10 games is legit.
not two. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
Well,
was
like I said, and we saw teams like Denver, even the Clippers last year. They their two best players went out, and they were still competitive with the Suns because they had depth.
That was crazy.
And the Sixers, I mean, they have some depth, but if they trade Harden for depth pieces from like the
Yeah.
Clippers or I don't know,
and let's say you would, which I don't see happening at all, but let's say you trade Harden and Embiid, right? The amount of depth pieces and future you can prepare for yourself is incredible.
Well, the thing is, I'm not a huge. I like Embiid, but I'm not like a believer that he can be the number one guy. But say I think you trade Harden, get depth pieces, run this roster, put Tyrese in the main point guard role. If you're still not close, you gotta get rid of Embiid and then just build around Maxey. Because Embiid's like 29, right?
And
He's not crazy young.
I don't think he's quite that old yet, but
I call 27.
he's 20. Yeah, he's
Wow.
he's a lot
Oh
older.
dang! Whoa, this.
He's
I
not,
mean, I say trade him, but now I'm really saying
Yeah.
trade him.
I mean,
And especially coming off an MVP season, teams are probably going to be
Italian.
willing.
well, so teams like Houston, New York, Utah, maybe. I mean, they have a ton of picks.
You could even try Dallas. They could use a big man.
Dallas, who are you gonna get from Dallas?
I mean, you could try getting
Josh
Kyrie. You got Josh Green.
I would
Hardy.
want-
You got plenty of pieces you could get for depth,
I
though.
don't think I'm gonna get Kyrie. If
Brooklyn.
I'm trading Embiid, I
That's
think I'm
true.
just gonna rebuild.
Brooklyn.
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 I don't know. I don't
Get
think.
Clax.
Brooklyn has so many picks right now. I think how many
Yeah,
picks they have.
get
That's
Clax,
true.
all the.
But I don't think
trade
Brooklyn
Flo.
wants to trade that much. I
They
think
trade-
they don't want to trade.
They can trade Cam Johnson.
McHale.
Cam Johnson. They can. I don't know if they want to trade. They probably don't want to trade
I don't think they want to
I
trade.
think
McHale.
No, I think
I
McHale
think
and
Flax.
Embiid would be the duo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You keep.
Yeah, I
and
guess
then you
it's-
trade Claxton. You trade Johnson, and maybe I don't know, throw another player or two, and give him like 5 first round
Cam
picks.
Thomas.
And now look at the Sixers guys. So we're
Well,
talking about Tyrese Maxey takes the chains, and when we see what he does when he doesn't have a very large role. So he's taking the chains. He's going to be the guy. I'm talking about they're as competitive, if not more competitive, this coming season. Just this season alone. Teams adjusting, still young. And then we're talking about first rounders on first round. We're talking about they're setting themselves up for success.
How many do the Sixers owe like a ton of first rounders to the other people, or do they have all their picks?
It's a great question.
The Sixers.
Because if they have all their picks, I would be more willing to do a trade where you just like trade Embiid for like a ton of picks and then like young guys. But if not, then I would probably try to trade Embiid for like more star.
I mean, let's take Melton,
I would like to do the Nets trade if
Yeah.
Victor Tyler picks.
take Melton, Maxey, Johnson, Harris still there. So you're set on defense. All those guys are
And then Claxton.
and Claxton. Guys,
Claxton was,
defense.
all defensive, right? Or
I think so.
I don't think it's
Close,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know what awards
Well,
he got,
he was.
but
I'm pretty sure if
be
you
honest.
look at defensive player of the year, and I think he was
he
top
was
5
third,
in
right?
that. So
Was he-
yeah, I mean, he might have been third, but I know he was top 5. So I mean, he's one of the best defenders in the league. I mean, you only replace him beat so much, right? But you get a replacement as a center. So you start him as center, and then you have so many pieces with Maxey and just some other.
that whole team right there. Well, we're talking about a starting 5. That might be the best defense starting 5. Just based on those guys right there.
I mean,
Well, and then you still have Bev
Who's
too.
gonna be-
You got Pat Bev too, who you play
I
anywhere.
mean, he's on one deal.
No, but they haven't this
This
year.
is assuming it happens.
It is gonna be
Yeah, yeah.
right. It happens tomorrow.
It
And
probably
then,
won't,
and then the first round picks you can get.
I mean, you would probably get like a lot of Phoenix's picks, and Phoenix, I think, we saw it in Brooklyn. It's got a chance to totally crumble in the playoffs. I mean, Brooklyn, I think, rebounded nicely from
Yeah,
that whole situation, but I don't know. Yeah, like the prospect of trading Embiid is kind of enticing, you know, because you just don't see it with
It
this current
sounds-
roster
yeah.
and like the setup that you get for the future. I mean, we saw it with OKC. You know, they had Westbrook and Paul George. Paul George coming off a really good year. He was better than LeBron, and then he was, guys.
No, he
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason they got what they
Yeah.
got. Let's just say that.
And then they traded Paul George for SGA, tons of picks. Traded Westbrook for Chris Paul, tons of picks, and then traded Chris Paul for picks. And anyway, they did it at the right time. They didn't
Mhm.
overextend their stay, and they were able to get maximum assets for those guys. And now they're set up really nicely. Or like Utah, for example.
And to your point, OKC, PG, even those were good players. Right? These are
No,
just
yeah,
top teams.
No, yeah, they were.
But they weren't gonna win. Everyone knew
Yeah.
that. It's just like the business decision.
And that's the same thing with
The Sixers.
the Sixers. I mean, and yeah,
I agree with you.
I think
it's
it's an
a-
absurd idea.
It's
but-
a must. My hot take is it's a must. Like, do it now. Like, they don't do it now. I don't want even to most people. It's an absurd idea, especially. I mean, after you might meet a player choke artist. After you, it's more open now. Now you have the hard. It's definitely becoming a more and more realistic idea. But it still sounds crazy to some people. But I think it's a must. Like if you've got balls, you're more. Let's see it. Like, just put up the hammer. You're like, wow, how would you trade him? But it's like, well, if you think about it, everyone knows you're not contending for a championship.
Yeah.
Well, build your future, and I believe wherever they would get, I believe they would be pretty much just as competitive
if
for
not
all the
more.
assets they get in just this next year.
I agree. No, yeah, I agree.
We're talking about
They
the second
should-
round playoff.
they
They're
should-
talking about second round playoff.
They really should. They should. If I mean,
A
just
lot-
think about the offers you can get. Right, if you say Joel is on the market, like like they're gonna get so much. They're gonna.
29 other teams or 28 Nuggets are going to try to get him, but
Yeah.
29 other teams are going to be asking for him.
Exactly. I mean, everyone. I mean, the amount that they can get back, and they could probably even if he's smart and good enough too, with some offers that they get, you could probably even try to feast a little bit to where you even get a little bit more than they offered, just because
if Rudy
depending
Gobert,
on how bad they want to be.
if Rudy Gobert got that type of package, just imagine what Embiid gets coming off an MVP year.
Pause.
But yeah, like
It'd be crazy.
I mean, like people say there's value in being competitive, which I'm not. It's not like totally untrue. And for like an owner standpoint, it's hard to like totally just
Tickets, money.
yeah. But I mean, this team's not going anywhere.
The thing is, that's also the craziest part. I mean, I don't even think you're tanking at all if you trade him. I literally think because you're getting players, you're getting like
you're getting
back.
No,
but
but I mean,
if you're getting, I like a team that's got that has a starting lineup of Melton, Maxey, Johnson,
Harris,
and
Claxton, right?
I mean,
Then your bench, you still got good pieces too.
And
I mean,
then-
you still got Paul Reed.
at least the first
Pat
round
Bev,
exit
you
line.
have
Some second round.
They match Paul Reed
Yeah, Paul Reed.
It's not Paul Reed.
because I know he was offered to the Jazz.
Yeah,
Then off the bench you got Paul Reed and is PJ Tucker still around?
yeah. They still have Tucker. They have
just do the defense.
Beverly
The defense
on
of
the
this
bench.
team is actually quite impressive.
they'd have
And
Beverly
then-
still on the bench. I mean, it's
I mean, look at like Utah last year. They made 2 big trades, and then they were still competitive the year after. And which is, I mean, I think they could have made the play-in if there weren't like injuries to marketing or whatever.
It's true.
they have Mac McClung on the bench too.
We're calling dunk contest champ, but yeah, I think there's no reason to just accept mediocrity, which is keeping Embiid and Harden around.
It's true.
I mean, they were close, but
They're good, but they've only made it so far since
Yeah,
they've
you
had.
can get just close and have a way brighter future.
I mean, Harden's not getting any better. Embiid's not getting any younger.
And even if right, I mean, he's not gonna get better than he was. He was an MVP. He had a fantastic season, and you had Harden too. And you've had him for his whole career now. You've only made it so far.
It's time to untrust the process.
Exactly. It's time to trust
It's
a
time
new
to-
process.
It's time to untrust the process and make a new process.
Just think if they kept Jimmy Butler.
Himmy buckets, Miro.
I mean, he's the type of player I think the Sixers needs.
That's true. But he's got to do absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sixers have a history of just bad decisions, even though they're relatively competitive. Team.
Yeah, yeah. So
The reason they don't get so far is because their decisions aren't that great. So you're competitive, but it ends.
I mean, so I saw this thing, like in terms of draft blunders. 2015, they drafted Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah.
Over like Chris Stapps, I think Jamal Murray, Devin Booker.
I mean, Okafor is a straight bust.
Yeah, he was.
I'm sure there's at least 10 better players than him in that draft.
I mean, and then there's probably 50. Really,
Probably everybody.
actually, his first year, he was actually really solid. And then he just totally fell off. I mean, he was probably putting up good stats on a bad team. But the 2016, they drafted Ben Simmons over Brandon Ingram. Jalen
Simmons
Brown.
alright. He gets a lot of hate. But
Yeah, I mean, he would have been good if he wasn't mentally weak. But and then
yeah, back issues.
2017, you drafted Markelle Fultz. You traded up to draft Markelle Fultz, and their original pick was where Jason Tatum was drafted. And then
Markelle Fultz actually, he's one of the most underrated players right now, in my opinion.
yeah, but he's not.
The Magic, but he was bad with the Sixers.
Yeah.
Didn't work out at all. Injuries.
But
Big
they struggle to like develop their high draft picks. I mean, Embiid's the one that hit, and he hit big.
Yeah.
He was an MVP, but it's just the organization's just dysfunctional.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I know they.
And I don't think
more
they're
than new
always
GM,
talking
but
about
I don't really think he's a great GM either. And I don't want to change the topic. That we're completely off topic here, but we've looked into each draft,
Mhm.
and one of the craziest things is, I mean, if you knew each player's career when you draft them, like that's right. Like it's just if you can draft well, the championship team of every year, if they had every pick, which is the last pick in the first round, they can get normally the top 5 players.
Yeah.
Like they could literally keep winning championships for years and years. They can
Like-
win championships every year because they can there's always a gold nugget in the second round or the last pick of the it's crazy. You can normally always get at least a role player, if not most.
Yeah, Desmond Bain was the 30th overall pick. Jimmy Butler was the 30th.
Nikola
overall
Jokic.
pick. Jokic was the
Yeah, we've looked at
We
this
look at every
throughout the
single
past
draft
like
last 15 years.
10 to
It's
15
crazy.
years, and every single one of them has someone
Draymond.
30th.
And then you
pick
have the
behind.
Sixers, and they don't even know how to pick right from the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, which is saying that
Which happens to a lot.
tanking is not guaranteed, and like, oh, we have our MVP guy.
So we're kind of contradicting ourselves right now because we're saying trade Embiid for picks.
Yeah,
When they don't even know.
but if you hit picks,
If you get the picks right, if you at least get some role players. I mean, the team would already be good. I mean, if you got Mac,
but
guys we're talking
also
about,
gaining these assets, they could always flip them in the
Yeah, flip
future
them,
for
right.
another star.
That's true.
bingo.
And right in our scenario, right? Let's say they goes to Brooklyn, you get 3 really good players with it already too. Not like you're just banking on you better pick right. Like you get players,
You get so
and then
many- you get so many
picks
draft
that, like you
picks,
said,
right?
you can use, or you can hopefully learn how to pick a little better.
The chances are you're probably not going to pick right every pick. But if you have in the next 3 years 7 first rounders, I would hope at least one of those you're going to get a pretty good guy.
Yeah, but it's all out there. And then back with that, right? Your first top picks can be busts. Is Victor Wembanyama overhyped currently? Or how do we feel about the hype that Victor Wembanyama
So
is getting?
as a absolute diehard Spurs fan, being my favorite team despite the Memphis jersey. Yes, he is. I mean, right now, man, I hope he's everything he's supposed to be. I hope. I mean, you've had people like, if his career is like Hakeem or Kevin Durant, he's a bust.
No, yeah, that was.
Hey, if he's like that, I mean, I'm happy. Right? I'm living it up. I'm a happy camper with that kind of career.
Yeah.
So he was 84 in 2K. They just announced it. That's
It's just 2K.
It's 2K. It's like 2K.
Yeah,
But it says something behind it. It has
yeah,
meaning
just
behind
give
it.
him like a 78 upgrade, man. I mean, man.
Give him an 80 like you give every
Yeah.
first pick.
Yeah.
If he's averaging a 30 and a 10,
That upgrade.
this week, I hope he does. Upgrade him, but I mean, we don't know.
It's like the expectations on this guy is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I'm sure it doesn't make it any easier on him either.
I mean,
He said that it doesn't phase him, but I mean, you're what 19. It's gonna phase you a little bit, whether you know it or not, or you want to admit it or not. It puts pressure on your shoulders, especially for him going to the Spurs, who's a great organization, but they tied last place in the West.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure on your shoulders.
No, yeah. Like he doesn't have a great supporting cast around him. I mean, he has good young pieces.
There's
Like Vassell, he's solid. Johnson's solid. Sohan was solid his rookie year, but he doesn't.
Collins is good, but like
Collins is great.
But
But he doesn't have another guy that could, at least that we know of, that is really going to.
we don't we don't have any other.
Yeah.
yeah, and the other thing too, right, is I can see them making the play-in, and I don't think they're gonna make a top 6 playoffs, but I could see them if they make the playoffs, it'd be through the play-in, right?
I don't.
But
think
saying that if that doesn't happen, you don't
I
think
mean,
they have a
that-
chance?
I mean, obviously the chance considering injury.
Well, yeah, but like, you don't think they
Well,
have
like-
talent to be able to make it there?
Or at least current knowing what we know about every player, someone can make a leap. You know.
I mean, I'm so biased. But like just knowing the Spurs and Popovich and even just the guys in the roster, like Keldon Johnson, right? You don't know who that was 2 years ago, right? He's just been developing into that guy. And just keep in mind, the Spurs were god awful last year. We got the number 1 pick for a reason. But just to keep something interesting in mind here, they were heavily affected by injuries. Keldon Johnson did not play very many minutes. I mean, we can pull up some stats here. Devin Vassell, he had a knee injury bothering him for about half the season at least. We basically tanked the last 15 games. We just consistently held out people. That Compton played a few guys. I don't think he's really hurt. We have even Sohan, right? Young rookie first year, he had knee issues.
Yeah, but he played.
He would play, but he was sitting out games. I think probably because we were tanking.
Yeah,
but we weren't playing. It was like we didn't get to see our full lineup in full throttle effect. Coach Popovich, all these guys, we know guys. Come on, this is not the first time we're watching the Spurs. Not the first time we're watching Popovich. All these guys are gonna show up at least slightly better, if not taking a few leaps. And we know they got big momentum. And we're expecting a healthy team.
Yeah. So Keldon and Zach Collins both played 63 games. That's fine. But Devin Vassell only played 38 games. So we missed almost half the season.
Arguably the best guy on the team.
That too.
Considering his defensive impact as well.
I think I mean that takes a big blow. Even if you want to say he was the second best player, right? He's one of our best guys, and he missed about half the season.
Yeah. This is in no way I'm not trying to diss the Spurs or whatever.
It's competitive in the West.
It's just so
that's true.
in the West.
That's
I
true.
mean, like
Lakers and Mavs didn't make it last year. They both were competing. Rockets look like a wild card team, but they can certainly be competing for a play. I don't think they're gonna make it at all, to be honest. But they certainly compete. They have a lot of talent on their team.
The Jazz, true. They dealt with injuries, and they're only going to get better because they're young. What were the?
I'm not in on the Jazz at all, but they have a lot of talent, so they could totally be in there.
The Timberwolves made it. I mean, they have who they have, so I wouldn't be surprised if they make it again. I mean, it is really competitive. I mean, you have even Cat missed half the season. Like, he's a good player in the season, right? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it where they
a lot of dysfunction, but they got a lot of talent.
So you think they could be better than one of these teams?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So Nuggets, Grizzlies, Kings, Suns, Clippers, Warriors, no. Lakers, no. Timberwolves,
potentially.
I don't think so.
But
I think Ants.
I think Ant and Cat talent wise.
I think on paper, Timberwolves are better. The interesting thing to note though is the Spurs are one of the most functional organizations around the league, whereas the Timberwolves are one of the least functional. So they could get flopped there, but on paper, Timberwolves are the better team.
Thunder. I mean, if their young guys don't develop like we think, then maybe.
They should take some leaps though.
Yeah,
I
they
think the
should.
Thunder. I mean, they're still made the playing tournament,
Yeah, yeah.
and they should only be getting.
I think the Thunder are a playing lock, or maybe not lock, but
they're one of the safer options to bet on.
Pelicans.
Pelicans are real guys.
Yeah, I mean, if they're healthy, they're top 5 team in the West.
What a nice way to say that, but I'm all for it. I love the Pelicans.
And then the Mavs, obviously, they got a lot better.
The Mavs
Added Grant Williams.
Be the Mavs guys. Hold like them.
And then-
Do we think they're actually gonna do something? Is Jason Kidd the answer?
I like Jason Kidd.
I like Jason Kidd's player, but like
Mhm.
some of it, they hit what's going on with the court is just so questionable.
I like so he's a defensive coach with no defensive players. And so I think it's kind of setting up for failure, but also in that case, you're a coach that can't coach an effective offense with Kyrie and Luka. Or they were effective, but they were dysfunctional.
Yeah.
No.
And I mean, even him with his bigs too. I mean, you had JaVale McGee and Christian Wood. He kind of stopped playing Wood. JaVale McGee, he's a solid center. I mean, Dwight Powell, no hate, but he's only so good. I would take my chances after losing a lot of games to play JaVale McGee.
I mean, McGee is like the Shaq Nicole King. But, I
Mhm.
mean, he's been balling recently. Like he can block shots. Like he can play defense. I
And
don't know
even
why
Christian
he
Wood had like a
played.
5 or 6 block game too. I mean, I know he's not known for his
Yeah.
defense, but he has a very high upside on offense and defense.
But still, I think this new constructed roster, especially if they end up getting Capella, I heard they were rumored to.
That's
big.
big. That's big.
But like Grant Williams, good wing defender.
They lost Hardaway, right?
No, they kept.
I think the Mavs. I mean, everyone's hating them. I'm kind of on that hate train right now, but I think they're wild card team. They could even be a top 4 team.
I think they were playing.
I think they're realistic, but they could even be a top. They're a big one. I mean, they have guys like if we remember what they did.
I mean, they have Luka and Kyrie.
Exactly. If we got what Luka did,
a good shooter again
Oh,
too.
Seth Curry, that's a good addition.
just remember what Luka did in the first of the season. He was my number 1 MVP clearly. In my book, the first third of the season. I mean, they were like they were a top 5 team in the West in the entire beginning, and like they have Kyrie, and I know I'm not a big fan. I know they're missing D. There's a lot of holes too, but at the same time, even when they were losing all those games at the end of the season, most of those were actually pretty close games.
Yeah,
That's true.
They weren't games where they just looked. They looked kind of bad sometimes, but like they were still keeping things close.
Yeah, and I mean,
So they're a big wild card team in my opinion. They could go really bad and really good.
Yeah, and they got Rashawn Holmes from the Kings too. They drafted Lively, so they got some bigs too in the offseason. You have Jaden Hardy as guard, who as a backup he could be really good for them too. I mean, there's definitely potential, like you said,
like
they're
their
a wild card team.
too.
I like their young guys a lot. Yeah,
Derek
and
Lively.
They have Lively. That's true. It's good.
Yeah, Derek Lively could be like.
they got Lively, Maxence Prosper. I think could be pretty good too.
I love Max.
You have Hardy at guard at backup. I mean, they have talent for sure.
Josh Green.
Josh Green, Hardaway still.
I don't know how much we've been talking for. I don't know how much time we're going for, but this brings me to my other question. This season gonna be the most competitive season we've ever seen. I think last season was the most competitive season I've ever seen.
I
mean, we know the West. I think every single team in the West
the
is
10th
competing
seed
for
in the
playing
West
spot at least.
was 42-40. I guess 40-42, but the Thunder beat the Pelicans. But,
Yeah, it moved because.
and then and then the third 3 seed was 48-34. That is 3 games separating the 2 teams.
Well, that's for one. But even if you just look at it like this, so the worst team was the San Antonio Spurs in the West and the Houston Rockets. They're both tied. Both of those teams.
Oh yeah,
We're talking about they could compete for a playing spot. Are we particularly confident in that? No, but they could certainly do it. We know the Trailblazers can compete for that. I mean, they might leave, but even then, I mean, like,
well, so
they got some balls.
going through every team. Nuggets, they didn't get better, but they didn't get.
They're
too
gonna
much
be
worse.
they're gonna be top 6.
Nuggets are good.
Compete for a championship.
Grizzlies got better.
Compete for a championship.
Kings are going to be the Kings.
You can probably say
They might
compete for a
fall a
championship.
little bit, but I could see them. That I don't think they're gonna fall out.
Suns got better. I
Suns
don't know,
have
talent-wise.
insane talent. We don't know what's going to happen.
Clippers.
They're basically compete for a championship ever since they got Kawhi and PG. Doesn't work out most of the time.
But they still make the playoffs.
Yeah. Warriors got better on paper.
The Warriors supposed to be falling off,
Yeah.
but we know they won a championship just a year ago.
Lakers got better. Timberwolves look.
If they can
Solid.
stay healthier,
Yeah.
they'll be better. I think.
Thunder. I'm assuming they're going to get better. Just from development. Pelicans, same thing with health.
Mhm.
Mavs got better.
Pelicans a lot better than they give them credit for, like you said.
Yeah. Mavs got better. Jazz.
I think that you could say they got better too.
Yeah,
They have a lot of injuries to your
John
credit.
Collins.
Exactly.
Is a great addition.
I don't really love the whole team chemistry on the team, nor do I love anyone in particular that's like a really, really crazy talent. But they just have so much talent. It's kind of all
They have a lot of young potential.
but it's all kind of just in there. So they have talent, right? I mean, you got
I also love Keontae George.
and
And
the
Hendricks, too.
baller.
I think they
They
Hendricks,
drafted well, but even just the guy they had last year,
No,
they're
yeah.
all talented. They all kind of these random guys that kind of do their own thing.
And they even showed last year too, right? That
Good.
they have. I mean, they were the one seed at one point. I know it's towards the beginning, so it only means so much. But they were winning games consistently at the beginning. They showed that they can play and win.
I mean, so every team in the West got better or stayed the same. I mean,
Mhm.
Blazers
Fair.
might get worse if they.
But even that potentially, I mean, you're gonna get assets back for Dame too. I still don't think they'll
Maybe
necessarily
more
get
sharp,
worse.
more smooth, but I think you're, and they also disappointed last year. So
Yeah.
I think on paper you're right, but they might
Um,
have the same record.
Yeah, I mean, so the West is everyone got
And then Rockets
better
Spurs.
or the same,
Mhm.
and then
the East, I think
in the
it's
East you still got the Bucks, you got the Celtics,
Sixers.
76ers.
I still think they'll
They'll
compete
fall
for a
off, but
playoff
they'll-
spot.
They're good. We know they're good. Guys.
Embiid and Maxi's going to get you a playoff spot,
Yeah.
no matter what. Cavs, they look solid. They improved the 3 spot.
They got a few. Yeah, they got a
Yeah.
few good additions.
The Knicks, I think they're going to be solid again.
Yeah, I mean, they basically are running back the same thing.
Nets could fall off.
Yeah, Nets
they were
is.
bad in the second half of the
I
year.
mean, yeah, once they lost everybody,
Yeah.
they made the playoffs,
Yeah,
but
I think they're playing.
But the record fell.
I think
They
they're
can
fighting
definitely
for
compete
spots.
those
They got worse, but they're still not a bad
Hawks,
team.
I think, got better.
Hawks, I mean, they're the most
Well,
mid
so-
team last year, but on paper they're stacked. They're stacked on
No,
paper.
yeah.
And we see what we see what they did when they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
26 and 26 in the conference, 8 in the division.
They were the most
literally-
mid team. They would win a
they're
game, lose a
literally
game, win a
mid.
game. They were the most. They were the definition of mid.
Yeah. Wait, where is it?
They were
118 points per game. 118.
No, literally,
opposition
like
points per
it is amazing. It is amazing how mid they are. It's actually impressive.
game. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. So
Besides
and they
Boyd,
were
yeah.
41. But
we know what they can do.
I think, Quinn Snyder, great coach.
That's true.
much
They
better
they
than
did get
Nathan
better
Connolly.
once they got him.
And then they played a competitive playoff.
You got
series.
Sadiq Bey to win the season too.
Yeah, Sadiq Bey, probably going to be the starting power.
So once they got Schneider and Sadiq, so not to mention the talent they have, but once they got Sadiq Bey and Schneider, I mean they beat the Heat in the play-in, and they were competing with the Celtics.
I mean, they took him to 6 and down the stretch in Game 6 they could have forced a Game 7.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean,
They were certainly
I
good.
think that they improved. I think they'll be a top 5 or so team in
The
the
Heat-
in the East.
Yeah.
The Heat are
They always.
Heat are low key such
somehow.
an X factor. I don't know where they're gonna end up, but they're gonna end the playoffs
Yeah.
somehow. They're gonna end up in the playoffs.
Bulls are the Bulls. They're a solid team. They got star players.
They,
Yeah, they
they
got
where
tough
they've been
players.
for a
They're kind
while now, so
They're a funky team.
but they can make the play.
I mean, I think they had a solid. Well, no, I think a solid offseason would have been rebuilding. But I think
they still have a solid
they
team.
got.
But I think they can
Craig,
still
re-signed
get that.
Kobe White.
By now, they're content with being kind of mid.
Yeah.
Toronto Raptors, I absolutely hate what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're necessarily competing for.
They're competing for playing spots. They'll
Yeah,
say
that's
that.
true.
Yeah,
Fred
I don't
VanVleet.
even know if they will. So they lost
Uh,
Fred VanVleet for nothing.
Marquise Noel, by the way, is a ball.
He is a baller.
I don't know if he's gonna do anything on next season, but he's a
He
ball.
knows that they're
And
playing.
then, so they drafted Grady Dick. I like
like his
Grady, but
They have so many guys that do exactly what Brady does on the
I
team.
know.
Yeah, that's kind of what they
Yeah,
have.
Barnes, Ojanobi.
Yeah.
You have Gary Trent, who does a little bit different, a little bit less than those guys, but
Yeah, and then you have some bigs that are,
Pascal.
and then you have a few kind of like okay, they
They
can
just
play
don't
big.
have a guy that
They're just like all these guys that are pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like, what are we doing?
Just,
What
again,
are we
one of the
and that's no disrespect to any of those guys.
They're all good. They're all good guys,
Yeah.
but they just need to be split up. They need to go start their career somewhere. Like,
I mean,
needs to get going.
we've seen like Pascal Siakam maybe trade rumors. I don't know, but it doesn't look like anything like that.
No.
And then Indiana, I think they could take a big.
They almost did this year, and I think they
Yeah.
probably got better too.
I am huge on
Yeah.
Halliburton, particularly, but even Miles Turner, one of the most underrated players
I
in
mean,
my opinion. in the league.
Halliburton, Mathurin, Miles Turner.
Matthew's only gonna get better.
Yeah,
So
I like
we'll
Obi Toppin.
I don't care for him too much. They got Jarris Walker,
see.
right?
Every time he was good in the playoffs.
He did good in the summer league.
I mean,
Andrew
he's a-
Nemhard's a
Yeah,
dog.
Just give him depth. Give him something at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nemhard's a dog.
Wizards, okay. The Wizards are
They're kind of a wild card. Because what if Jordan Poole's like,
Even
average
if-
30?
But even if you lose Kristaps, Bradley Beal, you're not getting better. Just get Jordan Poole.
Yeah, and
I-
Tyus Jones. You're
Yeah, I think they're the only team. Well,
So far, that's
At
really
least
gotten
yeah,
worse.
they have no chance. I think.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think
I agree.
at least the lowest
Yeah.
chance.
Magic, I could also see them making.
Oh yeah,
Okay, I mean, I'm a little biased in this one. I love the Magic, but I mean,
but statistically,
I mean, I literally don't. So a lot of injuries for that team. Really young. I think everyone's getting better for the most part.
I mean, they
Got
got,
a few good picks to help. We were talking about. I mean, they pretty much have everything on their team that you could need as far as position-wise,
I
defense,
still think-
passing, shooting.
yeah, I still think they need more shooting, but
but they still
Jet Howard,
Jet Howard was
6'8"?
Yeah,
he's a sniper. He's a 6'8" sniper.
Franz Wagner.
Frank Wagner can hit that shot. Paulo, I mean,
Paulo,
he
I
can hit
think
some
he's
nasty
the guy
shots.
that needs to improve, bring up his 3-point.
and Markel Fultz,
And
I think
Marco
too.
Fultz, yeah,
and then you have Wendell. He can pop
he's
threes.
a do-it-all center.
Exactly.
But they have the biggest thing they were missing was a defensive point guard. By the way, this is also me speaking. I much of love Fultz. Actually, I think that's rated. I actually don't know how good he is at defense. I don't think he's particularly good.
But they got Anthony Black.
Like,
too. He's
Black,
a
even
pretty
though
solid
I'm also, by
defender.
the way, I mean, he's one of my least favorite picks of the top 10, maybe my least favorite, but he's good at defense.
Yeah. Well, so Trey Jalen Suggs, I think, is
And they even have that
something
guy.
they need to do.
Yeah.
I would agree, but
They
they
have
have
Jared
Jared
They
Stevens.
have so many
very
well-rounded
well-rounded player.
players, like
That's true.
Markel Fultz and
Cole Anthony,
Yeah,
Suggs.
I think and I like Suggs. I think he could be good.
But if you consider this, and just if I mean, remember what the Magic did with the Celtics last year, and if you look at their schedule, you have so many games on the road against really good teams, and they're losing by 5 points. Right?
Yeah.
This team.
They lost by a buzzer beater.
I'm not predicting them to be a
Fox.
lock-in playoff team at all. But if you saw them in the top 5,
Yeah.
I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised.
Like the Cavs of like 2 years ago.
Cavs can fall off.
Like
Yeah.
when they had Darius first breakout year, and they were like the 3 seed out of nowhere, and then they kind of fell off as the season went on. But I think the Magic have a similar type of season where they're like, whoa,
I
they
can see
surprised
that.
us, they're the 7th seed also, you know.
Mhm.
And Charlotte,
They're
There is a lot of injuries last year. LaMelo Ball, if he's healthy, I mean, that guy's insane.
I mean, LaMelo
To be
missed a ton
fair.
of games.
they
Miles
got Miles Bridges back.
LaMelo played
he's
what 3
phenomenal.
seasons and only like 62 games total.
Yeah.
Like that's
I mean,
crazy.
I mean, like Zion gets a lot of flack for being injured, but LaMelo has been injured.
I mean, LaMelo, it's in my opinion, when he's healthy, like the Hornets, like don't sleep on them. They need PJ Washington back.
They need I don't know if they need
Oubre just
back, but
left. He's also a baller, but they also got Miles
Yeah,
Bridges.
Oubre is still a free agent.
Yeah, he's still a free
No one talks about that. It's actually insane.
and PJ Washington. They're both.
He averaged like 20.
I know.
They
I mean,
both
like
really
he's
good.
older. He's not like insane. He's not the greatest guy out there, but like it's crazy
Like
in my
these
opinion.
teams like
I haven't heard
Nuggets,
anything about
Grizzlies,
that.
Kings, even Phoenix. They could really use a guy like
Yeah, a lot of teams that could use the guy.
or, like Boston, Philly, Cleveland. Anyway,
Yes.
pretty much every
Boston.
contender-
I think Boston doesn't need a guy like that. I don't think, but
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah. I think they're kind of lacking forward depth.
I feel like Cavs.
No.
The Cavs.
Yeah, the Cavs could use forwards.
Oh yeah, yeah.
PJ Washington and Oubre could both be helpful for them.
Yeah, what are they? Pay PJ Washington.
I don't know. The Hornets,
Think
as an
you're
organization,
right.
I feel like as a team, they have a lot of potential. As an organization, I don't trust them. It's just
That's the problem. And then the Pistons, I think
young talent.
they have a lot of really young talent, and I would not be
I
surprised if
expect them to
they.
do a lot, but
No,
I would
don't
not
think-
be surprised if they do though.
should be better though. They should be better
No, I would be stunned if they make like the playing
Yeah,
tournament.
me too.
To go from 17 games to the playing tournament is crazy. I know Cade's coming back.
Well,
You
okay,
got
so
Thompson too.
that's true. Cade's a ball.
You-
I also
yeah.
I love their draft picks in Oscar Thompson
And
like
Marcus
Marcus
Sapp.
Sapp.
But
I
they're
love
just
those.
I think they're just too young. You know,
I think so.
unless Cade makes like an All NBA leap.
It's okay.
Cade, he had a phenomenal season when he played or
Yeah.
games,
Yeah,
could be an all-star.
Definitely good.
I think the
and
only
they
way
picked
they
up Monty Williams as
they
coach.
crack.
I know
He,
some of
he
my
has to
blog
prove himself there too. But I would not be surprised if they make the playoffs.
Unathletic white boy gang. Bogdan up there with
Boyan.
Jokic and Luka, the Eastern Europeans. Oh my
Once
god.
again, it's Boyan on the
I have
Pistons.
Boyan, it's something.
Bogdan's on the Hawks. Okay, Boyan's cooler.
Well, how much time are we at? Also, it's like late. But next time, then we can talk about is the Cavs because I think they have based off what they did last year and what their team
They
looks
picked
like.
up George's though.
I think they're in a situation where they're actually not in any way contending for a championship. And
I don't think they're contending.
stuck mid.
So I disagree that I don't think they'll win a championship, but like I could see their record falling off. 50 wins is really hard to do, obviously. But yeah, I think they still got a solid core. I think the thing that you gotta worry about
There's
is
a lot of things to worry about on that team if you ask me.
But I
like
think
the Donovan Mitchell.
you want to
situation.
prioritize trying to trade Donovan or make sure he comes back.
Well, yeah, you gotta extend him. If he doesn't extend, you gotta trade him.
Yeah.
My opinion, and I like Donovan, but he's another guy. I don't think he can be number one on the championship.
Well,
team.
I think they're hoping that Evan Mobley eventually takes that role, and that's a lot.
Of
to
number
ask.
one.
Yeah, I think so.
Of number one.
Yeah.
Right now, Darius Garland is much closer to being the number one than Evan Mobley.
No, I don't. I mean, Darius Garland's solid. I don't think he'll ever be the number one.
Well, no, but I think in this scenario too, even if Evan Mobley has that talent, I think it would be smarter to keep him as a number 2 guy, so that way you're not falling into a Joel Embiid feed him every time. Have Garland put on his show, and he has such good court vision too. He'll get the ball.
Well, no, I'm not saying like, oh, discard everyone else, focus on Evan Mobley. I'm just saying I think they don't have a number one on the roster. Right
Donovan Mitchell, they're clearly number one.
Yeah,
no. I'm like, I'm
Without-
not saying a guy that can be the guy on a championship team.
Yeah.
They have a really solid all-around roster.
I like the young guys.
That's what makes them.
Well, I mean, maybe this is just my habit, I guess, but I say trade Donovan. He said he doesn't want to stay there. When he went there, I was like, okay, that's a cool team. They're not going to contend. That was my real thought. And in the playoffs, I didn't think they were going to contend. I thought they weren't. I thought people overhyped them, but they did way worse than I expected myself. I mean, Donovan didn't show up. They were just going himself.
Nobody.
He went for it, and guys, they were just all around.
Well,
God,
it was a horrible display.
I'm worried at this point about Allen.
Basically everyone.
I'm worried about Allen.
Allen and Mobley is a weird fit, especially in the playoffs when spacing is so pivotal. Like 2 guys that can't shoot.
But this is the problem. It's like I don't see Mobley ever being the number 1 guy. He's not that big and dominant in the paint. You're not a big man.
I mean, he
neither
doesn't
can he
need to be
shoot.
a number 1 scoring option, but he needs to be the best player for the Cavs to win the championship.
But he's not really a high IQ, passing IQ playmaker kind of guy. I just don't know what you're expecting. I see he's a really good defender.
I mean, like maybe like a.
I also don't see him as like an
Anthony
outspoken
Davis
leader.
type. I don't know.
But he's really talented and he can score from everywhere. Really.
Yeah, I think the Cavs, they have a lot.
I like
still to
Mobley too.
figure
But I
out.
don't think it's number 1.
I think they still have a lot to figure out. They have some young guys, so you can experiment a little bit. But I think you want to figure out what you do with Donovan Mitchell.
I say you have to trade Donovan, get some picks.
I think that's a smart move too. But you have to figure out if
You
he
can
does
hold on
want
to
to
him for
stay.
a while. You're gonna be a good team,
that it
but
could
you're
work.
never gonna contend. I mean, like,
I don't know.
you got to pull the band-aid off, trade him, get picks, kind of not rebuild, but like let Mobley
Grow.
and Garland develop together. I don't know if Allen's part of that picture. He might stay. He can get traded. It really kind of doesn't matter that much to me.
Yeah.
Kind of have to see if you do it, but let those guys work a little bit for a year or two. And in the meantime, you're getting another player for Donovan and getting first rounders.
I mean, I think the Cavs just not pulled the plug, but pulled the trigger too soon. You know, they made the big blockbuster trade. I
Yeah,
think when they should have taken another year.
they should have let him go.
I mean, like obviously Markman became an all-star this year after that. I don't know if he would have in Cleveland, but
He could have. I think he definitely.
And too many forwards. I mean,
Yeah,
you
that's
have Mobley and Mark.
That's true. Unless you would have played like a really big lineup.
I mean that's kind of what they did, and they were pretty good. But
I guess you might. Yeah, I mean, I say trade Mitchell, get a lot of first rounders, but get some first rounders.
I mean, how many?
Let the team kind of be mid, maybe competing for a play-in
Like
spot.
who's giving that much up for Mitchell at this point? I mean, we see
Put another
he's
71-point game. I mean, he's got the raw
oh,
talent.
no, yeah, he's got the raw talent, but like his team's consistently underperforming the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we have to go. We gotta wrap this up a little bit. But I mean, that'd be interesting. What team could actually use up Mitchell? I do think he's a secondary. I think if he's the second guy on the team, I think it's a.
I think
championship team.
Miami is the perfect land spot.
That could be a really good one.
I think they were
that
trying
could
to
be
trade
good.
for him
That could be good.
last year.
That's interesting. I think he's actually very similar to Jimmy Butler.
Orlando, I think.
Orlando would be interesting.
Maybe
Sacramento, guys. Sacramento.
Sacramento.
I don't know if
But
they could
you
get
have
him.
Fox and
Fox a playmaker, he's a scorer.
yeah,
would
but I
like
don't
that
know if
pick.
you want Donovan Mitchell, the ball dominance that he wants and needs. I don't know if you want to mess with that.
Well, that's what he has to be the second guy, and he has to kind of be aware of that. And Fox is a point guard anyway, so he's gonna have the ball, and he's good. I mean, he's a good playmaker too. I think that'd be an interesting.
Yeah, I like that fit as well.
I like Sacramento,
Phoenix.
and I feel like that's what they're missing is a small forward guy that can really do it all. He's good on defense. He can take over an offense. That's kind of what they had. Monk's gonna step up. Harrison Barnes gonna step up, but not really a guy. You know what I'm saying?
Even Sabonis also underperformed.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways,
The Warriors could always use a forward.
Okay,
They don't care for forwards.
Josh Giddey for Donovan Mitchell. What would you do?
you want that?
I would love.
Would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Anyways, I think this is something that we could talk about next time. You can drop some thoughts before too. Maybe we can even try to bring some of those comments in there too if we get them. And then we could talk about that next time. And hope you guys enjoyed, subscribe and like.
Peace.